Hey guys, it's Kusi. In the last episode, we somehow sneaked our way to Keystone Master, timed the plus 18 key as a top DPS for the very first time, lost a straight up duel against a Demolog for the second week in a row, and got shafted by arguably one of the easier mechanics in Blackrock Hold. Yet we pushed even further to a dungeon score of 2100, and all of those things led us to being pimp slapped by the very first boss of our very first plus 20 key. In this episode, we will finally receive some really important upgrades in terms of just overall damage, but also by receiving a trinket that some consider best in slot. Gimme that, gimme that, gimme that, gimme that, gimme that. Our quest for rating continues as we march towards the critical acclaimed goal of 2500 to achieve Keystone Hero, while trying to fill up our vault with as many plus 18s as possible and attempting yet another plus 20 to fulfill one part of our challenge. And I promise you, this time it will be a longer run. We will also hit a PR today when it comes to damage output by getting to 1 million DPS, while also making use of the god-given utility Blizzard gave us to mess around with. So grab yourself a drink, get comfy, and tell your Aunt Becky it's time to watch another Kusi video. Alright, first I want to say that I'm happy most of you got smoothly through the year transition, knowing that alcohol can occasionally make things rough. And because I know you guys like to be teased with some foreplay before shit gets rough, I got the right stuff for you to begin with. Because we ended on a reset last episode, and the first thing we're gonna do is hit up our vault. Having 2 mid-track items in there from all the plus 18s we grinded last week, an upgrade is inevitable, and since I'm all about business this episode, I won't milk anything. Considering the item level diff, don't even bother about the LFI items, so we go straight ahead to the shoulders and the trinket. Now I quickly researched the trinket for Lock, and turns out it's pretty much the same as the 450 shard of Azeroth that I have, so there's no point in taking it. I'm not necessarily unhappy or displeased with only one viable option from the vault, but I guess it's still a bit boring. Ah well, no time to complain, we take the big shoulder upgrade, but we are not done powering up, because we got another catalyst charge with reset, we turned our hero headpiece we got the other week into tier set, and also used the token of mastery we received from KSM last episode in order to get 2 more upgrades to our name. Swapping out shoulders, head and legs improved our item level from 461 to 467. Not too bad, I'd say. Now the first thing I did this reset was the thing I disliked the most. Raiding. Because I'm somewhat overgeared for it by now, it was rather easy to get into a normal raid with this item level, and what makes this even more boring for me is that I don't need any loot besides of the last 4 bosses to do. Now because this whole series is more focused on Mythic Plus, I cut out the lesser important parts and will show you the juice right away. Nimue, no idea if that's actually how you pronounce it, drops a pretty nice active trinket that not only grants main stat and does some damage, but also increases your mastery by a sickening amount on a 2-minute cooldown. This is one I really want to play with, because more mastery means more seed damage, which means more endorphins for Kusi. Unfortunately, someone made a good roll pretty early on, hitting the 83 to beat, which yeah, about that. Next up is Smolderon, which also drops yet another trinket with a 2-minute cooldown that grants a good amount of haste and an absolute unholy amount of main stat for 20 seconds, which does decrease over time though. This one was even tougher to obtain, cause everybody and their drunk Aunt Becky needs on this trinket, so the bar was raised pretty high pretty quick. But your boy wouldn't be your boy if he didn't roll a 95 to compete. On that trinket that has a 98 rolled. Unlucky. Some mage from the run whispered me, telling me that he could just snipe it for me, which I probably wouldn't have accepted, but that never became a decision since he rolled just as horrendous as me. Next up is the Flaming Hot Shido Druid, and this puppy drops a really nice trinket for every situation. It's like this season's beacon for caster. 2-minute cooldown and this thing can slap. I changed my approach this time and rolled ASAP, which got me an 83 to mark the #1 spot for now. I even told the mage that in no world this is enough, and people kept milking and milking and milking until... oh baby! Finally a trinket with the same amount of girth as our boy himself. So naturally I just had to use it right on pull. 700k damage, just like that, though I quickly learned that I didn't read the tooltip proper. Turns out the explosion is around you, not your target, meaning my second use of it did as much damage as a wet fart in the rain. In hindsight, this is just the first of many loads blown into nothingness. Killing Firak made me realize that this ain't a Drake, but a Pinata. Look at how much loot dropped from this bitch. Jesus Christ. One specific item I was keen on, and yet again it was a trinket. 82 was a number to beat, and not even close. But I won't complain about this one. Well, I guess that was rather successful, though wouldn't it be for the trinket, this would have been mighty tragic. Now back to the good stuff. Dungeons. With the reset, we obviously again swapped Tyrannical for Fortified, and also got two different affixes to deal with. Afflicted is, how do I put this? I hate it. I hate it so much. But why do you hate Afflicted? It's so easy, just to spell it. Yeah, that's the point. For probably the first time in a long time, I can't do shit against this affix myself. Incorporeal is fine, because I can CC both of them if I want to. The Imp Dispel doesn't work on them for some wonky reason, so I have to fully rely on my party for this one, and just the thought of that makes my asshole tight. But yeah, to quickly break it down, Afflicted spawns either 1 or 2 ghosts that either need to be dispelled or healed to the maximum. Every dispel, decurse, cleansing works, besides Warlock Imp. And just to top it off, we can't even provide anything for the second affix either. Raging got reworked recently and now it's actually a menace, by giving every mob that is affected by it CC immunity. Now the key you see here running in the back was my warm up for the week, and I was glad I did it, because our healer in this one apparently didn't figure out the affix yet. More often than not, Afflicted managed to squeeze in a cast, which had me to become more aware of my positioning. Very often I tried to LOS one ghost just to figure out there was one behind me too. I was curious on how 2 dispels weren't enough until I figured that the Windwalker didn't even skill his dispel, so I had to rely on LOS even more. Our hunter however wasn't pleased with this outcome, complaining for us to stop dying like we do it on purpose. And when he just kept calling the tank stupid, which by the way is not really a smart thing to do if you want the key done, the tank snapped and called him a creepy ass child, which made me burst out with laughter so hard. Apparently though, he wasn't a child, but a grown ass man, which made this little tantrum even more awkward than anything else. After some really weird confusion after the last boss, where I teleported up but the tank ran somewhere I have never went before, we still timed it with 65 rating to our name. Get me out of here. Now Mikey on the other hand was an 18 Darker ticket, which was one of those runs I desperately needed for score yet. So I happily assembled a bunch of god gamers that were willing to play the game on the 1st of January like only seasoned degens would. I was hyped for the first pull in here, because this is a perfect scenario. I got a big HP target to keep Unstable Affliction on, so I was ready to send it. And besides me absolutely whiffing my new trinket, this wasn't too bad. One also doesn't see that many arms warrior these days, so it's always nice to spectate one at work. And if you remember, the last time we were on this boss, we got our asses handed to us, but it is not tyrannical this time, so we should manage it. Even though our warrior somehow ended up behind the locked area. Not sure if I was more amazed on how he did it, or that the boss actually didn't reset once he went out of bounds. Because of all this bullshittery, this became a rather close call, until we were sort of in the safe zone again to finish the arc druid. On O-card, I already mentally prepared for my favorite thing to do. Doing shit solo target DPS, but sniping the little saplings last seconds to secure first place. You just love to see it. No mentionable issues till the end, until we killed the boss and experienced something that I haven't seen yet. We are missing score. Funny enough, all of us knew which ones we left out, so we marched towards those 4 little flowers in unity to finish this with only a 1 chest, but 121 score to an overall of 2286. And to nobody's surprise, no item. But of course, RNGesus had to make it rough for me by presenting me yet again with the Throne of Tides key. I swear this is the 15th time I got this one on the Warlock, and even though personally I don't mind, it's not a dungeon a lot of people aim for. But we are here for score, so I waited extra long for a tank to apply. Here I also found out that I seriously should consider my shortcut for Burning Rush, because I do have it bound on mouse button up for some weird reason, and I often just instantly deactivate it by accident. Yet don't let this distract you from this nasty pull. Did the warrior do 1 mil DPS? Maybe. Did Kusi do 800k? Absolutely. It feels so incredibly nice to not be the extra baggage anymore, and while I'm absolutely able to carry my own weight in AoE, I do still need myself some assistance on single target. Easily the coolest thing for me when I play Affliction is the 30-second cooldown for your AoE, which also comes with a neat power spike from Dark Harvest. I like those low cooldowns cause it just means you can send it whenever. This time I was even able to do something in the first boss intermission phase. Considering the last few times I just stood around completely overwhelmed. Overall damage of that boss was garbage. Fury is just so nice for this one. Yet on this next boss, I experienced another first for me. Just look at how neatly we placed the first 3 blobs in the corner. If that ain't art, then I don't know what is. After that, anything else went as planned, until the tank decided to just pull the third boss alongside the mobs in front of him. Which is no issue at all given the insane amount of damage this party provided so far, but I still would have loved a heads up, because I really enjoy summoning our imp here for the extra dispel on the party. You see, the boss does a really harsh ticking flame shock on the party, which has a lower cooldown than the healers got dispel for it. Which means if there's a second dispel at hand, you can easily get rid of it at all times. But there's also afflicted, so being a helping hand to our healer is all I thrive for in my life. So I quickly blew my load, peaked at an insane 1.9 mil DPS, and yes, I'm aware that this was because of the burst of the first damage going out. Still, I was able to stay above 1 mil for a little bit, before quickly swapping out my sacrificial pet to imp for the dispel. Only 3 deaths on the final boss and me on full thrashed armor obviously means I didn't come as prepared as I should have. So for everyone watching right now, make sure to repair right now. If you are in game, repair right now. 2 chests in the end, 24 score, and the key that I was absolutely horny to do. Everbloom 20. And I was especially fond on this one, since I forgot to record the plus 18 key I did last week. So this will be my redemption for blue balling some of you guys. But this ain't just another attempt on the hero key. We are in the presence of a legend. Our first celebrity in our series, and by the power given to me by the Lord himself, not the last. Pope fucking Francis is on board, baby.
The Holy Ones!
And just to spoil this a little bit, he ain't the only holy one in this group, because this band of absolute legends played nothing short of heavenly. Well, at least everyone but me. You see, me, being that little bit of a dumbass that I am, forgot to change my sacrificial pet to the Fell Hunter again for the kick. Thus, I played with the imp spell for a while, which wouldn't be too bad in the beginning to potentially cleanse the stuns from party members, but I just didn't know. I pressed it whenever I wanted to kick, and even got confused why it doesn't work. I will blame it on the cold medication I'm on, but realistically, I am just a silly wiener. Now, because this is Everbloom and because this party is nuts, we had a lot of beautiful pulls that allowed me to just do my thing. Which is just lovely if you ask me, considering they occasionally let me be top DPS spot as well. Besides this one little tricky pull before the first boss that, well, probably went a lot better in everybody's head, we were rather free of failure, and this Gigajet even pulled the extra flowers on top, which naturally made your boy blow his load quicker than the boss could even get a spark ready. After the boss, everything worked out like it should. Decent sized pulls whenever the tank could manage them, no MDI min-max bullshit, just solid gameplay, and I am all here for it. Until we actually pulled so damn much that I was curious what we will skip. Turns out, the entire pack before the second boss just got ignored by us. Didn't see this sneaky pair thing yet, but I'm all about learning something new every day. On the second boss, I made it my mission to kick the left mob, Gola, whenever he tries to whip out the heal. Turns out, this only works every other cast, because his cooldown is a lot lower than my kick. Thus, the boss is getting healed by a lot. Oopsie? The third boss, however, made me realize how cool it is when you don't need to worry about your own life, unless you willingly endanger it yourself. I never had the shadow of a doubt when it came to the healing ability of our Pope. More than 5 minutes remaining to actually 2-chest this bad boy, and only the last boss remains. What a New Year's gift by this party, and as you can imagine, this was cleaner than a diaper on a 21-year-old. Easy 36 rating, paired with the Keystone hero Everbloom. I was hitting some numbers, but those guys just played a different game. So I quickly thanked them for their troubles, but turns out they were quite chill. I even got encouraged to continue the Affliction Dream, and hereby I, Kussi, swear by my allegiance to Pope Francis that I will make it happen. But with that, we end our 4th episode, and with a rating of 2346, you know we are on the final road of this challenge after successfully timing this one. And because this felt like I was boosted to oblivion, we will attempt more 20s for sure. So I didn't bring this one up in a while, but I hope you have the most fantastic day whenever you see this, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.